Hello everyone, welcome to 4Pi Academy. This is Ankita Rajput, and this video is based on the solution of CSIR NET Physics Examination 2020 held on 19 November 2020. Okay, so we have already provided you the solutions of few questions which basically memory based in part 1, so you can also visit that video, and we can also provide you the link in the description box. So before that, you can also visit our website, that is www.4piacademy.com, and this is basically for the preparation of CSIR NET, GATE, JEST, TIFR, and for IIT JEM Physics. Okay, so on this website you can explore many things. We have question papers of these examinations, answer keys. In material section you can get books on the books. You can get all the books. Okay, quick notes for the last time preparations. We have sample papers, and we have different topics based on these classical, electromagnetic, quantum, and all the 9 physics papers, so you can explore. And on our website we have some free courses available, few paid courses also, and you can also see that there are some quizzes and online test series which are very helpful for your preparation. So okay, so now get back to the solutions. Okay, so these are few questions we covered. So this is from quantum mechanics. You can see here potential is given, V equals to C upon R square is given, and by Born approximation we have to find out this d sigma over d omega, and we have to find out that it depends on which power of Q. Okay, so Born approximation is very important in CSIR NET and GATE examination. So the formula of scattering amplitude we all know. Okay, the scattering amplitude f theta is minus 2 mu over h square q integration 0 to infinite r vr sin qr dr. So we will use this formula when we have the value of potential. Okay, so mu is a reduced mass here, and so we will put the value of this v, that is c upon r square. Okay, and this integration we will solve. This is very easy. So this term will come out minus 2 mu c upon h square q, and it will be r inverse sin qr dr. So as you know, this term, this integration sin qr r upon dr, we cannot solve this integration because it's an identity, and its value is some constant based on the limits of this r. Okay, so ultimately what is the case, that this scattering amplitude depends only 1 upon q. Okay, so and what is this d sigma upon d omega? It is f theta square, so accordingly it will be proportional to 1 upon q square. So this option 1 will be the correct option. So next problem is a two-level system having ground state with energy 0 is non-degenerate and excited state with energy E having degeneracy G. If population in excited state maybe exceeds the population in ground state, then what is G? This value of 1 upon T is given 2 log 2 kb upon E, and we have to find out the value of G for which the population in excited state exceeds the population in ground state. So this is a problem of statistical physics, and you know the relation between the population and the number of particles in particular state. So basically n is, the formula is n is proportional to g e to the power minus n is proportional to g e to the power minus e upon kbt. This is the formula. So we are using this formula for both the excited state and the ground state. So if population in excited state is n epsilon and population in ground state is n0, and correspondingly ge and g0 are the degeneracy. So these are the two formulas, and when we divide the individual formula we will get g e to the power minus ej minus e0 upon kbt upon g0, because the lower e to the power will come upward, and and the ground state energy is 0, and the excited state energy is E here, so it will be g e to the power minus e upon kbt. So this is GE minus e to the power kb, and when we will put the value of 1 upon t, that is 2 log 2 kb upon e, this will be the case. So we can further solve this, that it will be GE, and we will write this minus 2 here, it will be log 1 upon 2 square, and what is e to the power log x? It is x, so it will be simply g 1 upon 2 square, that is g by 4. So your ratio of this population ne over n0 is g by 4. In question what they are asking that at what should be the minimum value of g for which the population in the excited state exceeds the population in the ground state. So condition should be like ne should be greater than n0. So we have 4 values given for g, that is 1, 2, 4 and 8. So only for the value 8, when g will be 8, your ne over n0 will be 2. So only in this case your ne will be greater than n0. So g should be 8, and this will be your correct option. Let's move to the next problem. It's from electrodynamics. 3 infinitely long wire, each carrying equal current, are placed in the xy plane along x equals to 0 plus d minus d on the xy plane. So the magnetic field vanishes at. Okay, so this problem is very common in NET examination, and the problem is very simple. 3 infinitely long wires are given. Suppose A, B, C are these infinitely long wires, and the position of these wires are x equals to 0, x equals to minus d, and x equals to plus d. At these 3 locations these wires are situated, and this is in xy plane. So we have to find out the point at which the magnetic field vanishes. So suppose the point is P, and this point P is at a distance x from the middle wire, and so this is minus d and this is plus d, so simply this will be d and this will also be d. So the formula of magnetic field at any point P due to infinite long wire is this is the formula: B equals to mu naught I upon 2 pi d, because d is the suppose distance, but in our case we have 3 wires, so at this point P we will have magnetic field due to A, B and C wire. So magnetic field at P due to wire A will be mu naught I upon 2 pi d plus x, because this distance is x, so this distance will be d plus x, and the direction will be inwards, because which rule we will use to find out the direction of magnetic field? Okay, so we will use the curl finger. So if your thumb is in the direction of the current, okay, the curling in the finger will show you the direction of magnetic field. So using this rule we can find out the direction of the magnetic field at point P. So it will be inwards, okay, because it's on the right side of this wire. So similarly, due to wire B, the magnetic field at P will be mu naught I upon 2 pi x, because the distance of B from P is x, and it will also be inward. So now we will find out the magnetic field of due to wire C at point P. It will be mu naught I upon 2 pi d minus x, and now the wire is the point is on the left side of the wire, so it will be outward. We will use the same rule. So in problem we have that total magnetic field should be 0 at this point P, so the sum of all these magnetic field will be 0, and we will take the direction into account. Okay, so inward means negative direction, so these signs are negative, and this BC is positive because it's outward, so it will be 0. Mu naught I upon 2 pi is a constant term, so we can take it outside and it will be 0. So we can solve this. LCM will be x d square minus x square, so we can solve equals to 0, and when we will solve we will find that x equals to plus minus d upon root 3. So when we will put when the point is at a distance plus minus d by root 3 from the wire, at these points the magnetic field will be 0. This is from digital electronics. F is A bar B bar C bar plus A bar B bar B C plus A B bar C plus A B bar C bar. So we have to find the minimum number of NAND gates requires, okay, to form this output. How many NAND gates are required, we have to find this. So first thing we have to solve, we have to minimize this. So yeah, so your f is this. So from these two terms we can common a bar b, so it will be c bar plus c. From these last two terms we can common out a b bar, that will be c plus c bar. What is this c bar plus c in Boolean algebra? It is 1. So simply it will be a bar b plus a b bar. And what is this? This is the output of XOR gate. Okay, and if you remember the XOR gate, this is your XOR gate. Okay, so this is the exact diagram. Okay, so we required 4 NAND gates to make a XOR gate. So simply to get that output we need 4 NAND gates. So this is a very simple problem. Your next problem is from mathematical physics. Given that I equals to 5 by 16, then using trapezoidal rule you have to calculate the value of a. Okay, and this is given at different values of x you have the values of fx or y. So what is the formula of trapezoidal rule? Okay, this is your formula. I will be h by 2 y0 plus yn plus 2 y1 plus y2. So h is this difference, okay, this interval. So h is 0.5 because these are the interval 0.5. y0 is the first value of fx or y when x equals to 0, and yn is the last value, that is y4, and it's minus 5 by 4. Your y1 is 0.5 0 and your y2 is a. So you can solve this because you have the value of I is 5 by 16. So you can solve this, is the simplest calculation, and you can find out the value of your a, that is 3 by 4. Your next problem is from electrodynamics. In an equilateral triangle, charge configuration is as. So this is the charge configuration. You have an equilateral triangle and these three charges plus charges are situated at the vertices of this triangle, and another charge minus q at this location. So we have to find the ratio of q over q if resultant force on any charge q is 0. So at any charge q means, suppose at this point the total force is 0, and at any other points means we can also take that at this point the total force is 0. So at this condition we have to find out the value of capital Q over Q. So we can find out the force. So let's do. Okay, so suppose we are taking this point. At this point, at this charge, the resultant force is 0. So we can find out the direction of force at this point. Okay, so due to this plus q charge, the direction of the force will be this F1 because the repulsion will be there. Due to this charge plus q, the direction of force will be this, like F2, because it's also repulsive force. And due to this charge minus q, the direction will be this because it's an attractive force. It's minus q and plus q, and the total resultant of this F2 and F1 will be this F dash. So these are the direction. So when we are saying that at this point the resultant force is 0, finally what we will do, we will equate, we will F dash equals to F3. So at this condition the resultant force will be 0 here. So we can simply find out the value of this F1 and F2, that is the force on this plus q charge due to other plus q charge situated at distance a. So it's 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q square upon a square. It's due to Coulomb force. Okay, so suppose this term we are writing k here, so it will be k q square upon a square. So the resultant of these two forces F1 and F2 will be F dash, and what is the formula of resultant force? It is F dash square equals to F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta. Theta is the angle between these F1 and F2, and it's here 60 degree. So we can solve this and it will be 3k square q4 upon a4. Okay, and so your f dash will be under root 3 k q square upon a square. Now f3, what is f3? F3 is the force, this force which is due to minus q charge. So we need this direction, we need this distance, and this distance you all know in equilateral triangle will be a by root 3. So we can easily find this force f3, that is k, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught qq upon distance square, and distance is what? A upon root 3. So it will be 3k qq upon a square. So as at q resultant force is 0, so this force f3 should be equal to f dash. So we will use this, and use this. By using this condition we can find out that capital Q over Q will be 1 upon under root 3. Okay, so this is from electronics. In LCR circuit, L, C and R are connected in series to a source V, that is V naught sine omega t. So if net current I depends only on R, when? So this is a series LCR circuit, and the condition is given that total current I is only depending on R. So in series LCR circuit we know that I is E upon Z, and what is Z? Z is basically the formula of Z impedance is under root R square plus omega L minus omega 1 upon omega C square, but they are saying that Z is equal to R. So we will put that Z equals to R, and we will square on both sides and we can solve. So this will be true only when this omega L equals to 1 upon omega C, or omega equals to 1 upon under root LC, or f equals to 1 upon 2 pi under root LC. So this is given in your options, that omega should be 1 upon under root LC when your I is depending only on R in series LCR circuit. Your next problem is from quantum mechanics. If the eigenstate of a harmonic oscillator is given, psi x equals to 0 is 1 upon under root 2, state 0, state 1, what is the minimum time required to get back to the same state? Okay, so we have to find out the time after that the particle or the harmonic oscillator will revert back to its same state. So suppose after time t your wave function is this, you know this, how to find out the wave function at time t. It will be 1 upon under root 2 state 0 e to the power minus I e naught t upon 0, because it's 0 state, so energy will be E0, plus state 1 e to the power minus I e1 t upon h cut, and this is psi 0. So they are saying that after time t function will revert back to its state, means function repeats itself, so psi t will be psi 0. So this is a condition. So we will put psi t equals to psi 0, then we will equate this. So it will be e to the power minus I e naught t upon h cut will be 1, and similarly e to the power minus I e1 t h cut will be 1. So they both are equal because they are equal to 1. Okay, so we can solve this. So it will be, this term will be will come to the left side, so it will be e to the power minus I e naught minus e1 t upon h cut equals to 1, and 1 is the value of e to the power I 2 n pi. So we will equate it, so it will be e1 minus e naught t upon h cut will be 2 n pi. So this is the general term. So for 2 pi value it is, we can take that it is equals to 2 pi. So we can calculate the value of time t, and it's 2 pi h cut upon e1 minus e2. For harmonic oscillator, what is the formula of energy? It is n plus half h cut omega. So for ground state E0 is half h cut omega, and for first excited state E1 it's 3 by 2 h cut omega. So it's basically E1 minus E0 here, not E2. So what is E1 minus E0? It's h cut. Okay, so let me use the pen. So it's basically E0, and so it's E0. So E1 minus E0 is h cut omega. So what is the value of t? T will be 2 pi by omega. So this is very important problem, and common also in these examination. So your next problem is from nuclear. Find magnetic moment mu for 9F19 and 10Ne19. So to calculate the magnetic moment, first we need to find out these proton number and neutron number. So for this fluorine, Z is 9 and N is 10. So we have to find the term for odd proton, because protons are odd. So what is the formula of this, how the protons will be in different states? So this is a formula. First is 1s half, 1p 3 by 2, 1p half, 1d 5 by 2. You know this formula. So in this state we have 2, in this we have 4, in this we have 2, and in this we have 4. So your last proton is in d5 by 2 state. So for d5 by 2 state, your J is 5 by 2, L is 2, and only one electron is here, so S is half. So what is the condition? This is that J equals to L plus half. So J is 5 by 2, L is 2, so this condition is satisfied. J equals to L plus half. So in this case we will take the formula of magnetic field due to odd proton, that will be mu p. And what is the formula? J plus 2.29 mu n, nuclear magneton, and J is 5 by 2, so we can solve. So magnetic moment mu p will be 4.79 mu n for this 9f19. And same way we can calculate for 10 and E19. Here protons are even 10 and neutrons are odd 9. So we will find out the state for these neutrons, and it will be same, okay, because this is a order. So your last neutron will go in d5 by 2 state. So J is 5 by 2, L is 2, and this is the condition that J is L plus half. So for odd neutron the formula is simple. If J equals to L plus half, and it's minus 1.91 mu n. So this is how we can calculate the magnetic moments for odd proton and odd neutron. So this is all about this video. We tried to cover many memory based problems from this NET examination 2020. So in case of any query, any doubt, you can just comment. So thanks everyone.